Hi, this is Dana, and on this channel I speak about Gnostic spirituality. Um, I'm taking further the idea which God gave me, namely to just read my notes, things that I came across uh, in my spiritual fighting, and I just noted that I want to share with people that are fighting because this is why we came here for. So those of us that want to follow our divine purpose, I just want to share some of the information, bits and parts of broader knowledge, hoping that this will help. One thing is that every life choice that you make brings about a bondage. So this is very important, and I decided to start with this one because you need to understand, most of us are hoping that the spiritual fighting is limited in time, and that at some point we get to a peace time with ourselves and with our lives, to build and to be just in a safe place away from these individuals who keep creating bondages and keep attacking. Unfortunately, this is not the reality. The 3D, as I said in previous videos, it is a combat zone, literally, of these individuals who are at war with God. And since you made your choice to be with God, they are at war with you as well. Also, since God chose you to be his messenger, in terms of communication or in terms of building in 3D or in terms of rescuing others, whatever is your purpose, they are at war with you for all of these reasons, because God chose you, because you chose God, and because you intend to follow your divine purpose. So for this reason, you will not get to that kind of peace that you hope for. And I share this because I think it's important in your mental state to understand this, and to sort of prepare yourself to understand that each life choice that you make will bring about a bondage that you need to break, because 3D is a bondage. It's a sum of multiple bondages being created. All of these fake identities which they put on you in order to use that to steal your rights and to do all of this harm. They cast bondages, they sell contracts on you, just like I explained in the previous video, constantly. This is their job. This is what they do. They get paid to do this. This is why I said in a previous video that you are their bread and butter. They decided early on that you are a person to be sacrificed. For this reason, they will all that come across you, they will all betray you, because they didn't choose to fight. So they choose to fit in what 3D means, which is bondage creation. Why? Because the entire concept of 3D is that a sum of individuals who are part of these convents feed on others as other people whom they consider to be their slaves, in terms of feeding on their energy, stealing their rights, and live in this pretend world of 3D, whereby they figure they are leaders, although they know full well that those are stolen rights for leadership, which they sorry, somebody is upset with my message, which they uphold only because they bind themselves at you and they swamp places with you, because they do not have divine rights for leadership. And I think it's pretty obvious why they don't have, because of what they're doing. So these individuals have this job to do all this. All of the 3D type of jobs which they fulfill, including the politicians in high-level places and status, are just pretend. And this to me was a eye-opener, because for 27 years I worked in MFA, and I was always very puzzled why politicians that are appointed politically in certain leadership positions are not interested in developing projects, meaningful projects. Why it's always an empty discourse. And I can assure you it's this way because I was writing the discourse, the speech. I was writing the speech, so I knew that they intended to do nothing of what I was writing. And for me, it was always a question, why? I mean, I understand you focus on yourself, but why you are so much determined not to build a project? And now I understand, after all this spiritual fighting, I understand why. Because they knew that the decision is not made based on projects, but the decision is made on stealing, based on stealing rights from you to lead. It doesn't matter how many projects he makes. It matters how many rights they steal from you and how much slander they throw at you to make sure that you do not elevate and you do not fulfill your purpose. So every life choice that you make, regardless what you decide to do, it's going to bring about a bondage, a war, a spiritual war at you, in which they cast darkness at you, bondages, they sell contracts on you to enslave you, to feed on you, to swamp places with you, to keep you trapped, to block you, to steal your rights, of course, and to feed on you for themselves and for their clients. Yeah. So for this, they have a book of knowledge. I already said this in other videos, in which they have a number of scripts. And it's literally like in cinema. And they literally create this or recreate or activate or whatever you want to do, you want to call it, through ritualic practices. They create these circumstances, sometimes ancient circumstances, situational karmic cycles and timelines, based on casting darkness on you to make you become that individual who's written in that script to do this and that and that and so. Yeah. So they want to force you to become these identities. Why? Because the identities and the bondages they choose literally give them the opportunity to steal your rights. Yeah. So this is what 3D is. You need to understand that you will encounter bondages throughout 3D existence. You can choose to stay in bondage and then you will reincarnate, but before you get to reincarnate, you will be in 4D, a trapped spirit, which they will use in order to cast darkness upon others, and the darkness they cast is going to be your spirit, which is low vibration by then, if you're in 4D, and they will use you to attack others who are incarnated. And you will have to destroy humans in order to body snitch, to take their body and incarnate. Because you're not going to benefit of a divine incarnation. You're going to be one of their slaves. You need to understand all of this, no matter how crazy it looks, simply because you need to understand what it means when you say next lifetime I will do this. Before you get to the next lifetime, you go to being a trapped spirit, a poltergeist spirit, being used and trained by them in order to feed on humans. And you do not know and you do not control when your incarnation will take place. Yeah. Okay. Then next topic. When you deliver karma, because some of you already chose to fight, you must expose and prove their criminal activity, because this is organized crime, what they're doing. This is mafia type of organization, what they're doing. no matter how they portray it. So when you deliver karma, you must expose and prove your innocence, and in order to get justice. You can get justice in 5D only by delivering karma, even if you do not succeed in 3D to bring it to a court of law, because they own the system, including many individuals who work in the justice system, who work in police and in Intel and in so many other organizations. This is why you see on TV so many of them being under investigation and so on. Yeah. Then in the process of delivering karma, you will have to play certain roles. God will guide you. The divine realm will be behind you and will help you and will guide you, and you will have to play some stupid roles. God has shown to me over and over again, especially during my spiritual journeys, individuals who do not want to follow divine guidance because they feel like they will be looking stupid, because they feel like they would be judged by the individuals around them and so on. Sometimes you'll have to do stupid stuff, but what you need to understand is that I gave an example in another video before, in which I explained how you can choose to leave the karma, so you can deliver karma, so you can choose to leave the bondage in order to deliver karma faster. I chose this many times. I told God, I don't have time to spend with this stupid shit and with stupid idiots who create this. Let's cut it off. Let's just go through a spiritual journey, and let's just leave the bondage so I can deliver karma faster. Because if you leave the bondage, then you deliver karma faster. But if you do not deliver you do not leave the bondage, then it's much more difficult in spiritual realm to deliver karma for something which is only at intent per level. But if they succeed to do harm on you, then you can deliver faster karma. So I said this to God. I said, I want this over. This is wasting my time, my energy. I don't have time for stupid shit. Let's just leave the bondage. And I went on spiritual journey. Now, what you need to understand when you do this is that a bondage is meant to last for a lifetime. Okay? You are fighting the bondage. You must expose them and prove your innocence, which means you must make them expose themselves in their intentions and their practices. Yeah. Now, your goal, if you're like me, I have a constant fight with God over this. I don't like the slow pace of spiritual fighting and spiritual journey in general. So I can be heard fighting with God, saying, let's move faster, let's move this. I'm not wasting my time with this. And because you need to fast forward the process so you can deliver karma in as short of a time as possible. Because, like I keep saying, I have things to do. I want to build. I want to help and to build and to create. I do the spiritual fighting because they don't let me be. But I want to have my time to create beautiful things, because aside from the spiritual fighting, you can also have a creative work with God, which is much more rewarding and much more beautiful than the spiritual fighting, which you're forced to carry out against some imbecile idiots doing imbecile stuff to you. Yeah. So this is not beautiful, but the creation with God is beautiful. And if you want to get to the creation faster and you want to get to your rewards faster, you want to fast forward the process of delivering karma, which means you will play stupid and you will do stupid stuff in order, guided by the divine realm, of course, not at large in general, in order to make sure that they expose themselves faster. So those that feel uncomfortable when they are asked to do certain things, And maybe I will make another video on this topic to detail this. But you need to understand that the purpose is to cut short the process. That's why you're doing it. That's why the divine realm is guiding you to do it. Now, another topic. When you break bondage and you heal energy, when you're done with it, you will be left with you, with yourself, with the one that you are. Much of the energy that we carry, it's created by darkness casting at you, by voodoo dolls binding at you, by individuals swamping places with you. So it doesn't represent you. It really just doesn't represent you. It's just darkness attached to you. So when you cut all of this off, you will find yourself the way you are. The level of maturity that you reached underneath all that darkness that was casted upon you. Now, what you need to understand is that some other individuals, when you break the bondage, you cut off the darkness which they surround themselves with. All the glamour which they create by casting darkness on you will disappear. And you will see those individuals the same way, the way they are, not the way they create, the image they create about themselves with witchcraft, water magic, sex magic, graveyard magic, and all of that. Yeah, you will see them exactly as they are. And be prepared, because some of them are mean, some of them are immature, some of them are egoistic, some of them are very young souls that did not learn lessons, and were in literally they had no way of learning lessons because they were casting darkness. They were busy casting darkness on us. So they didn't, since nobody fought back, they didn't get to learn the lessons. Only when karma is being delivered, they get to learn the lessons. Of course, God gave them chances to learn the lessons on their own, doing redemption, but many of them choose not to. So for this reason, you need to understand that you will be surprised. And this is important for you to know, because for me, in all the spiritual fighting, I was at some point surprised, and I was like, why is this man so hateful at me? Why he tries so hard to kill me? I don't understand. This is part of the reason. God showed me some explanations, and I was like, this is stupid. And God said, yeah, but he's a 5 years old child, mature soul. So this man needs to grow up, needs a lot of work for him to grow up, because he surrounded himself with all this darkness. He's been enslaved a long time ago, a lot of bondages put on him, and he embraced those bondages instead of fighting. And for this reason, he started casting darkness on others. And for this reason, he never grew up. So he's very old individual, but he has a soul such young as like a 4 or 5 years old child. So he behaves like a 5 years old child, you know? Yeah. So be prepared for that as well. You will see individuals who might be close to you, who are behaving very hard to understand for you, but anyhow. Okay, moving on. Another topic that I noted here is that when you accept around you low vibration people, they are like vampires. They feed on your energy, which means they elevate because of your energy, because of the energy they feed on. Yeah. Now, when they reach a certain level of elevation, some of them will get cocky and they will look down on you. Although they got to that elevation only because they fed on you, only because they stole your rights, and they know full well they did this. However, they will look down on you. And this is one of the absurd things which I encountered. Others who again elevated because of stealing your rights and stealing your energy, they will be resentful towards you because they know that they are not authentic, that they are in that position only because they stole from you. They also know they cannot stay in that position unless they continue to steal from you. So for them, in order to come clean means to give up all they stole from you and to do redemption towards you, to give back what they stole from you and to apologize wholeheartedly, and to start from the scratch their own work of doing good deeds, healing and breaking bondage in order to reach that elevation again. They're not willing to do all of this. So for this reason, they feel trapped in casting darkness, even if they are already tired of doing so. But it is not your fault. It is a matter of choice. And they choose this, and they choose, and they chose, and they choose now still to refuse to do redemption, which this is the reason why they are trapped in casting darkness, because they don't want to choose the right thing. Yeah. But you need to understand this so it won't bother you when they are resentful at you, when they look down on you, when they do all of this. They do it because they know full well what they've done to get there. And they know full well they need you. And if you fight, they take it personal. Because if you do the spiritual fighting, you take your rights back. And they feel like they are entitled to your rights. It's a very... it's a mind-blowing situation with these individuals. Again, what I said before goes, namely that some of them are very immature. You shouldn't have expectations because they're just immature. They behave like a 5 years old, and they're not capable of more higher perspective until they do redemption and they do the right thing, healing and fighting and so on. Yeah. Now, considering all I've said so far, the next note that I have here is that when you leave, so when you break the bondage or you break up with somebody because he's karmic and he's doing all of this to you and he's toxic and so on, know that they will fall because they only got there to that high level by feeding on your energy and stealing your rights. Yeah, your energy is what raised them up to that level and kept them there at a high level where at a higher level which they do not qualify for, and their energy cannot uphold. At that higher level, there are dark powers which lurk and attack everyone on that level because there are principalities on that level. And it's much higher than they can face on their own. So for this reason, you need to understand that they will fall. But this is necessary for them to fall because they can never rise on their own energy until they choose to give up all this level which does not belong to them. It's a fake construct which they gained only by stealing from you and feeding on you. Yeah. So you must be prepared to understand that when you deliver karma and when you put boundaries and you cut them off, you will see some of them falling, and you need to be okay with it. And you need to have the higher perspective of understanding that this is for their own good, that this is the only way they can grow, and they can heal and they can get healthy and elevate for their own merits, for their own good deeds, not because they stole from you and feed on you. You need to have this higher perspective and understanding of the situation, and you need to be the mature one and to let that person go, because they had the choice to do the redemption and get a smoother path. This is why you need to do the redemption when you are at fault, because your fall from the high level where you elevated by stealing and doing harm on others is very hard. The divine grace received by doing redemption will help smooth that fall. But they don't choose to do redemption. So for this reason, you're going to have to be the wiser one and to just let them go. Let them fall. Let them get hurt. So they will wake up and start fighting. Yeah. This is the tough love that you need to show. But I presume that everybody who has children understands that sometimes you need to detach from the situation and to understand that there is a higher perspective over things and that God will be with them. They just need to make the right choice, that's all. And if they don't accept to do it on their own, you're going to have to work with God to cut them off and let them fall. So you can move forward. So they can start fighting. Yeah. This is very important. You have to keep this in mind. Every time when you think to accept back people who refuse to do redemption, in my perception, you should never accept anyone back if they didn't do full redemption for everything they've done, for the simple reason that you're doing harm unto them. You're not helping them in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, if you don't cut them off, yeah, you shouldn't accept them back. But anyhow, it's your own choice. I just wanted to point this out. Now, another topic is that God will allow you to go into troubled waters in order to test others who are involved in your situation. Yeah. Sometimes, for example, they are trying to create a harm on you, and God will guide you to allow this to happen. One reason I already explained, because sometimes you need to leave the karma, the bondage, in order to deliver the karma. And it's easier for you if you move faster and you just decide on your own, because then you can control the circumstances in which the bondage develops. Yeah. And it's going to be for a short time. And you can influence the conditions in which the bondage develops, and you can deliver karma. So then you cut it off. Yeah. But for example, God will help you go through living bondage by choice in order to deliver karma. Also, not only for you to succeed to deliver karma faster, but also as a test to them. And in my spiritual fighting, I often had God asking me to allow certain things which they were sending on me to take place in order to give them tests, to give them chances for redemption, for repentance, and because this is part of the process of delivering karma. Yeah. And this is very important in the process. God cares very much for this, to give them chances and to give them grades. God gives them grades. Yeah. Now, in my experience, none of them do redemption or feel. Some of them feel remorse. God has shown to me. God said, for example, He asked me to let them do certain things or play role or some things which they were trying to create on me, in order to see how they feel when they see that harm being done on me, like being, for example, jobless, like being, for example, there's a idiot doppelganger of me across the street who was obsessed with me not having money, not having job, not even at some point she was obsessed with my looks, not having elegant clothes or car, looking fat and ugly and all sorts of crazy things. I don't even understand. This woman is sick. Anyhow, God asked me to role play some of this and allow for this to happen, only to see how she feels when she sees that on me. Or there's some other individuals who are trying to kill me, and God wanted me to just stay quiet. He said, don't retaliate, just stay quiet. And I was like waiting to see what God wanted. And at some point, God showed me the two individuals got to the point where they installed some technology to kill me. And God said, just keep quiet, don't do anything, don't attack them, don't retaliate, don't anything. And at some point, one of them was hurting on soul level, and God explained to me then, he is from your soul lineage, and I wanted him to reach this point of soul hurting because of harming you, because I want him to remember who he is. That man was part of the convent, and he was trying for years to kill me, and he killed some of my dogs. And God explained to me, and there were already many years, like 6 years since in my spiritual fighting when this thing took place, and God showed me why. He said, I just wanted him to remember who he is. But in order for him to remember who he is, we needed to reach this point when he created all the circumstances to kill you, and for him to take a pause and realize what he's doing. So there are different higher perspective logic, divine logic type of things which take place, and you need to follow guidance in order to create that which God wants to create. So yeah, exactly. I wrote here to give you this message, to give you this example, because I thought that was one of the interesting ones. Now, just very brief, in 2-3 words, some other very simple advice and knowledge that I gained. Money received at a certain point carry the energy of the timeline in which you are when you receive the money, yeah, and carry the energy of those who give you the money. So you need to understand you cannot cross from one timeline to another with the money from the previous timeline. You need to spend those money. Even if you buy things which you don't use, you cannot buy food because the food affects your energy, and you cannot, then you block your energy, you cannot move in the new timeline. Yeah. So you need to understand you cannot carry attachments, curses, and all of this. It's done on those money. Attachment, spirit attachment, curses, witchcraft, sorcery, all sort of bondages are done on your money. You cannot buy food and eat because the food will carry the energy of the money that you paid with. And it's from a previous timeline, and it carries all of this. So it's going to preclude you from crossing into the new timeline. You need to spend those money on things which don't affect your energy that much. And you need to ask guidance what to buy. For this reason also, you cannot accept food from certain individuals who do witchcraft on you. Yeah. All attacks are temporary. If you find yourself in strong attacks, remember that all attacks are temporary. If suddenly the attacks become stronger, they need to understand that it's temporary. They did something on you during the sleep time, most often, or they did a punishment sacrifice on you, ritual, the ones that I explained in the previous video, of stealing your rights or blocking your path or binding you to them so you cannot move forward and stuff like this, or death, and some, or sex, magic, or whatever they created. So you need to stay calm and you need to stay indoors, ask guidance and try to figure out what they did so you understand how to fight it. Or another reason is if they are the culmination of being rolled back, of dark forces being rolled back. That's when they become very strong. All of this is perception manipulation, by the way. Yeah, it's them manipulating your perception, and it only gets power. So it's like I'll tell you like I see it. So it's an entity, a dark entity, which is creating this manipulation, even trickster spirit and stuff like this. And if you believe what they say and what they do, then they get the power to create it in reality. This is a rule of astral, of darkness. This is how it works. This is a deal between darkness and God. They are allowed to test you. And if you believe what they show to you or tell you, then they have the power by stealing your energy to create that. And they use your energy to create it. The belief system which they affected. If they sent a curse or a mirror magic or a hologram, you need to change your appearance, the makeup, the hairdo, the clothes, because it's tailored on that image which you carried at that moment. So you need to change that, and you will see the darkness. Then it's not that strong anymore. If they did witchcraft on your elements of identity, you need to cut your hair, cut your nails, change the color of your hair, anything that is related to your DNA. Yeah. You must cleanse your energy, your food. Your food can help you with that. And I plan to write a culinary book with recipes and explanations about which food cleans what. You need to do movement. You need to lift heavy stuff. If you cannot do gym, sport, or stuff, just walk as much as you can. Doesn't matter where. Or even if you're in the room, walk around the table. Just walk, make effort in order to push that energy out. Yeah, it's very important to do cleansing on your energy. And of course, you have all of the other things, the smudge. You can do a sigil, you can do a prayer, you can do, as I said, food and cleansing of your energy, movement, and all of the usual things which are very well known. Yeah, I'm gonna stop now because it's 37 minutes, and because I also finished the notes I had. I hope this helps. I only wrote down a few ideas, thinking that this might help you in your spiritual fighting. I will do more of this, but I'm pretty sure because God keeps interrupting me, because it's certain sensitive time for me in sometimes. I'm pretty sure that the most coherent knowledge sharing that I will make will be in my books when I get to write them, because then I hopefully will have the time to systemize the information properly so you can actually make best use of it. Meanwhile, you're gonna have to just use these videos and the prophetic writings, because this is all I can offer, as I'm lacking the resources for certain projects which will bring about more of sharing knowledge from my side, hoping that this will help those who fight. God, when he pushes me to talk about these things, many times God has in mind individuals who are on the other side, the side of the darkness. He wants them to listen and to hear and whatever. Personally, my personal choice is to share this information specifically for those who fight. I want this, that everyone who fights and stands next to God and Jesus benefits of as much help as possible, and not have to go through some of the traumatic and dramatic events and fights, spiritual fights, which I went through. So this is why I'm sharing. But as I said, God also wants these individuals to learn some of this information, because God believes that some of them will stand up and start fighting, and they need the information. Yeah.